Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the North East Non-League Show, sponsored by DJ Private Hire, Gateway Accountancy Services Limited, Elite Goalkeeper Academy, Motivate, Danny Lay, Plumbing and Heating. And tonight we are back again, and tonight is our episode 91, Steps 1 to 4 August Review, with guest Peter and also Jason. How are you doing, lads?
You all right, mate? All right. All right, Peter?
Excellent.
Jason?
Excellent. Hope both had a good summer. I'm going to crack on first, going to go through your sides, and obviously very, very busy summers for both of you. Jason, starting with yourself, and obviously we've seen over the last couple of days, lots of players out, potentially not many players in. I mean, what's happening in the Const at the moment?
Yeah, we've lost some quality players. I mean, we've got lads in. It might be too early to see them gel yet. Still haven't won. I think it's three wins out of 22 all this year, which isn't good. So hopefully we'll put a stop to that this weekend. Again, we got a striker in, he's injured. Got another lad in, wasn't good enough, sent him to Wickham. We get a bit much experience there. I don't know if he's on dual contract or not, but I just doesn't seem to be happening at the minute.
Yeah, and I think it's that first win, isn't it? You just need to get that one on board to get a bit of confidence going, like you say, especially I've noticed other players when people are leaving the comments on saying, "Oh, we're losing too many players." It just doesn't help around the players, does it?
Yeah, it doesn't help. I think once you get that first win on board, that's because at the minute it's like a losing mentality, isn't it? The same as when you have a winning mentality. It just seems to go on and go on and go on. I mean, our last win was back in March, I think it was, which isn't good for like fans. So I can understand the fan frustration. And I know, like, we've tried to get lads in and they end up going elsewhere, whether that's down to close to where they live or wages, I mean, we'll not find out, but it's a bit disappointing when you see things like that happen as well.
Yeah, I mean, we've got one of your former strikers on a couple of weeks, Scotty Fennick. We'll have to put a good word in. I know he's back in the UK now, looking for a club, so we'll put a good word in for you.
Yeah, he's down Lincolnshire, isn't he? He's not up this way now. He's
great striker.
Unless he wants to commute.
But no, we get on the league as well later. Now on to our other guest, Peter, and obviously Whitby Town. How's it been going for you for Whitby over the summer?
Well, I'll finish. I'll speak first of all about last season. Last time I was on, I was telling you about all these potentially winnable games at home, and we didn't do very well at all. So we ended up a disappointing 12th in league. I say disappointing. First half of the season, you would have expected a lot better, but at start of the season, you'd have thought mid-table would have been an half-decent season. Players seem to lose the rhythm and the confidence due to the amount of games that got postponed, especially at home. We're going weeks on end without playing a game. We also got 3 points deducted for a technicality. That didn't help either because we're always behind with fixtures. So, you're thinking, we're sort of 3 games behind with and 12 points. Then all of a sudden, so you're having to go up full steam ahead. Then you lose 3 points. It's it's starting to knock you backwards, isn't it? I felt personally a lot of heads did drop. And it was to the point where our centre half, who's now at Spennymoor, Dan Rowe, was given the job as centre forward, leaving 5 strikers on bench. So you can understand why they were all sat on bench. They were left keeping bench warm. Of course, you take Dan out at defence, you're then losing goals at back. So from having the best record in league, we eventually ended up about 4th or 5th best, which, when you've potentially got the best goalkeeper, that's disappointing as well, Manager gambled a little bit. He brought Nathan Thomas in, who previously played for Mask, and Stephen Walker, who'd been out of football for a bit. Both of them, he admitted, weren't 100% fit when he brought them, but he took a gamble on them. And first of all, Nathan Thomas, once he was up to fitness, started producing, and he's continued in the start of the season. Once he gets the ball in his away, he's creating goals and he's scoring goals. Stephen was a little bit behind him, but did manage to get a hat-trick at North Riding Cup final, which was pleasing, especially when he'd been released by Middlesbrough. and it was at the Riverside Stadium. So that was good for him, very good for his confidence anyway. Unfortunately, he hasn't done much this season because he's had just a slight knock, so he's not quite 100%. So I hope that doesn't knock him back, but certainly Nathan's doing very well. And a brilliant one was the introduction of a young guy called Max Howells. Nothing on him at all, just a young kid, no size whatsoever, fast as lightning, out like a lion. Didn't matter how big they were, it just didn't matter. And every time he got the ball as a winger, he was straight down that wing, or he was diagonal straight for goal. Scored 5 goals in 10 games. What a revelation he was. We haven't got him now because he played that well that Middlesbrough ended up giving him a full-time contract. He was with us on what it weren't a loan, it was what's called work experience. He had to prove himself. And in them 10 games, he was absolutely magnificent. Well, for such a young guy, he was absolutely brilliant. And when you see some players who were there, you're thinking, well, why can't you do that? Exactly. A young kid coming out with, like, on almost a loan sort of thing, like. But overall, as I say, I was very happy with how the season overall. We finally got to FA Cup first round for the first time in 20 years, and we went North Riding Senior Cup. So, it's although I've complained a little bit about, same as you're saying, Jason, 2024, once that new year comes league. The club actually gambled a little bit, apparently, with increasing wages and bringing lads in from further afield. So bringing them long distances for training. Even when they come to home matches, it's there's a lot of money involved with travelling. So that went up 25%. Obviously, there was weeks on end where they were paying wages and taking nothing in because there was no games. And Saturday games became Tuesday games, a lot of them. So people don't go to every game when they're coming one after other. And obviously on a Tuesday night, you get a lot less than what you get on a Saturday. So all these have their impacts. But fortunately, the FA Cup run, instead of being a bonus, became a subsidy. So, they've had to sort of rein it back a little bit this year, which has made Nathan's job a bit more difficult. For end of the day, I think no club wants to be using the FA Cup as part of the budget. It's a good bonus. You can get to first round, and you can push on. You can then push on in November, can't you? But don't use it as part of your budget. It got to end at season, and as always happens, the old merry-go-round started spinning. Everybody started panicking because players were going. But it happens to every team. Contracts come to an end, and if players want to go, they go. Some think they're better than what they are. Some are good and are headhunted. And some feel, well, I think my time's finished here. I better drop down a level or two and go into back home for tea at 6 o'clock league. And on a Saturday. Because to be fair, even in your league, Jason, it's just you'll travel just as many miles as what we do, or maybe more miles. And the lads, whatever they get paid, there's a hell of a commitment. Training twice a week, travelling all over the country, getting back at all sorts of stupid hours. When it's dead easy to play at Northern League, isn't it? And just get home and get out on a Saturday night sort of thing. We had 4 players went to a high level, 3 went to Spennymoor, 1 to South Shields. All credit to them for they've obviously proved themselves at Whitby, and they go with our blessing. 1 moved sideways, just went to another team in our league. 3 have gone down a level, and 2 of them, and 1 went down 2 levels. We also had a non-playing assistant manager and a non-playing coach. Both of them have left, so and have been replaced by one assistant manager as a player. So that's a 2-in-1 job, that, isn't it? Really. So that's it. And then people panicking a bit, saying, "Where's our players? What we're going to do? We haven't got any players. They're all going." So things were a little bit slow to start with, but to the credit of the rest of the lads who were in the squad, there's at least 10 of them from last year signed, and I've noticed with the first few league games, there's always at least 7 who were here last year who were playing. So fair enough. We've lost some of the higher profile players who will obviously the players who were possibly on the bigger money. I don't know, but you would imagine there were. But all of a sudden, Nathan was being very careful who we brought in, knowing that sometimes good players come available because they haven't got fixed up higher up the chain right at the last minute. So he was hoping to hold a little bit back to get something like that. But first in comes Gary Liddell. He come in from Spennymoor. He's the new player assistant manager. I'm sure he's going to do a good job. He's professionally very evident. He's played. He got a knock on Saturday. Had to come off, unfortunately. But one of the young lads who's coming from Middlesbrough, Frankie Whelan, he played second half at Warrington Rylands and got man at match. And then he faced up to FC United on Tuesday night in a full game and got man at match again. So he's obviously got a point to prove by the sound of it. So that's you don't want Gary Liddell to get injured, but when you've got a young guy coming in and getting 2 man at matches out of 1.5 games, it's a good sign there, isn't it? Jasmine Tuka, we gave him his chance when he got released by Sunderland Academy. Was with us quite a long time. He got the opportunity to go to Darlington, and he's come back from Darlington. He had offers to go elsewhere. He must have had a bad time at Darlington because his main reason for coming back to Whitby was he was always appreciated at Whitby, and he knew if he come back, he'd be appreciated, and that's all he wanted to be. So anyway, he's come back. He left us as a quality left-hand-sided defender, and now he's come back as a leader, and he's still a quality. So he's now our captain, and I'm sure he's going to do a marvellous job for us. Again, from the level above, although he wasn't playing at the level above, Jake Charles, centre forward, run forever. He's a fit lad, is Jake. He's arrived from Scarborough. He previously scored quite a few goals for Stafford Rangers in our league, including at least one against us. But last season, he couldn't go into the Scarborough team, so he spent a month at FC United, and then he spent 6 months at Ashton, and he scored against us again. So we just had to keep signing players who scored against us. They were very unlucky with the small crowds and no doubt a limited budget to just miss out on goal difference for going into playoffs. So, credit to them. That's a good achievement for such a team with a small following, He's very mobile, and he's scored a lot of goals in pre-season, and he's already opened his account in the league, so which is very good. Excellent prospects, as I've already mentioned. Frankie Whelan with his 2 man at matches. Sam Collins straight in at left back. Joe Gibson. They've all arrived from Middlesbrough. Joe Gibson scored a cracking goal when he come on as a substitute at Warrington Rylands. He thought goalie weren't quite on his line, so he just took the opportunity to chip it in the far corner. Absolute genius of a goal, And they've come. They're obviously disappointed. They've been left. They've had to leave Middlesbrough, but we're getting a good name for ourselves. There's a lot of lads who come from these teams, and if they can play well for Whitby, and they're young enough, it's amazing how quick they get picked up. For instance, just to mention a few, Junior Mandel, first time round, he was soon picked up and off to Forest Green. He did a full circle, come back again. Now he's on his way back up again. Kieran Willergy, he's ever present in Scarborough team if he's not injured. Harry Green, top goal scorer for Scarborough. Max Howells got a contract at Middlesbrough. Ben Beals, fair enough, he was on loan at Mask, but he played for us, and we were hoping he was going to be replacement for Dan Ropes. We knew he was going. But obviously, Graham Lee had obviously dealt with him at Middlesbrough, had him on loan at Mask, and he obviously knew what he could do. So he's gone up a level. Mackenzie Heaney, who was at Newcastle, he played for us before he played for York, and now he's playing regular at South Shields, isn't he? Colby Shepherd, he's at South Shields. I see he's playing every match now, isn't he? Then a guy called Jamie Bramwell. He was at Grimsby, but he must have been on loan with us about 3 or 4 or 5 times, and all us, put a good shift in when he played for us. Real good player, and Grimsby released him, but he's picked up a contract at South Shields as well. So I think he tends to play as well. So South Shields have done well out of them lads, like, you know. We've also got a 17-year-old Mitch Parkinson from Gisborough. This time last year, he was playing for Gisborough under-17s. He got promoted to reserves. When they were short, he started playing for first team. And he gave our forwards a torrid time when we played him in North Riding Senior Cup semi-final. So Nathan's took him under his wing, and he's obviously going to be one for the future. You know, he has to be protected. I think he's at college, so plays college football on a Wednesday. So I don't think he's available Tuesdays because you have to look after the welfare, don't you? But he's certainly one for the future. Is that guy? 6'4" as well. And we've also got Alex Hutchinson, who at one point was at Middlesbrough, and we've got a loanee coming from Hartlepool, Cameron Darcy. They've been on the bench, but they haven't played much football yet. But they are only very recent additions. But I would say the most important signing, or possibly the most important signing, is Shane Bland extending his contract by another 2 years as he tries to chase down Paul Pittman's 489 appearances record. He's well over 400 now, so hopefully in the next 2 years he'll be somewhere near. Or if he's a bit short, he might sign for another 2 years. He's had his well-deserved testimonial against York City. There was 700 of that match, so thankfully he'll got a few quid for that for his 10 years service. Off the field, we've got a new CEO, Scott Booth. He's streamlining everything, and he's put a lot into club pride to being CEO, and you can see what he's trying to do. We're making progress on the outside, which is very important. You're creating revenue streams, stuff like that. We've also got a new position of sporting director. Gentleman's coming, Mark Harkin. And he's the go-between between Nathan Haslam and the board, where if there's a player needed, he finds ways and means of getting that player and also getting the funding for that player. So that could be a useful addition. Just stepping away from the first team a little bit and what's behind the scenes. Remarkably, apart from a couple of times at Northern, we had a reserve team. We've never had any sort of setup apart from the first team. And a retired professional footballer, Stephen Stacky Swales, has been saying for 2 or 3 years, look, there's a lot of talent in this town. We're bringing them through. Why aren't you giving them a chance? With a lot of help from Mark Storr at Whitby Fisherman and Lewis Coltas there, they've created a conveyor belt of young kids, boys and girls, from 3-year-olds up to senior level. And we had 3 of the under-18 team, namely Alfie Jackson, Archie Metcalf, who was 17 years old, and Conor Marcy, who was only 15-year-old, a goalkeeper. They were in the squad for the pre-season friendlies, and indeed all got games. Conor Marcy coming on in the Mickey Skinner Trophy at Gisborough, with 1-0 down with 15 minutes to go. He came on, we equalised. Is he going to have to face up to penalties? No, but luckily we got another goal. So he made a couple of saves, got his 15 minutes, and credit to him. 15-year-old, he's very well thought of. He's training with first team. He practices with goalies at home matches. So, and he's on the team photo. So he's now part of the squad as a 15-year-old. The team that Stephen Swales set up, we started playing established teams, and he won 4 and drew 1. York City, Stockton, Gisborough, Pickering, all these teams that were already established, all at under 18 or under 19 level, and he was putting his 15, 16, 17-year-olds up against them. First couple of matches, they never even had a proper training session, but they managed to win 4 and draw 1. They played the first competitive match last Friday, FA Youth Cup over at Penrith, and they won 4-2. So they're now into the next round. They're going to be playing at March. So that's brilliant. I really, get for your first game to be an FA Cup match. The team's changed its base. They're now based at Middlesbrough College, and Steve Swales has handed over to the college coaches and then you've obviously got the opportunity of giving the guys a scholarship and getting back to a sort of bigger area for pulling players in from. So I think all looks good there. You know, they'll be playing their own games, would be using the facilities at the college as the first team. So I think that's going to be a good relationship between Whitby Town and the college. And like as I say, many thanks to Steve for making sure it happened and proving how good the players were. As far as this season's concerned, we did all right in pre-season friendlies. We had a really bad game against Redcar Athletic when we were desperately short of players. Got absolutely hammered 5-1. But rest of games, you know, we got some credible results. We're always short of players, so a bit under cosh when you're playing teams that are better than you, and they're using two teams, you know, in hot conditions. We had a very poor first game. We're winning 1-0, ended up losing at home to Bamber Bridge. And we had a very weak bench, you know, in my opinion. There was only really one fit player on that bench, and there was even one empty seat and a goalie. They used 5 players. There was water breaks in both halves, so you can tell what type of day it was. And it was the fact that they had 5 substitutes that I think won them that game. So that was very disappointing. That. But having said that, after that, we bounced back. Went to Matlock, won 2-0. Went to Warrington Rylands, beat them 1-0. And 5 substitutes come on a week later, and all 5 substitutes had a massive impact on the game. So it is a game of, you know, you need 16 players, don't you? You don't just want 11 or 12. You need 16. We played Tuesday night against FC United. Decent crowd in. They brought quite a few supporters, considering it was a midweek game. So we got just short of 800 for that game. And we got a point with 0-0. There was a very strong wind blowing, and we had the upper hand in the first half, and they sort of definitely had the upper hand in the second half, which leaves us 7th in league, which you know, it's not a bad place to be, that, considering we lost first game. We have got 2 very tough games coming up over the weekend. We've got Macclesfield at home, followed by a 1-day rest, and then Stockton away, which, as we know, both Stockton and Heaven, they're no mugs even in this league, are they? They've just continued where they were last year. I hope you haven't come to end the show, but that's me Whitby Town summary.
No, lots going on. Always good to hear, Peter. It is.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's it. If there was nothing happening, I'd have said there was nothing happening. But anyway, we've won a couple of Jason in league, so see if you can match that.
Brilliant. Evening, Joe. Thank you very much for watching as well. So back to yourself, Jason. We're going to get on to obviously the National League, and it's all things positive for once in that league with our 2 sides that's involved. And starting with yourself and Gateshead, so far won 5-1 with the Ebbsfleet win, 2-0 against Woking and 1-1 against Halifax. And it's a good start, like you say, unbeaten. It's just what you want to wait to get the season started, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, we got on last year about Elliott and Story given the chance, and they did really well. Obviously, we all know the story, how they couldn't play in the playoffs and that, but all that's been resolved now. So hopefully they can push on and get back up there. Good to see Elliott and Story getting it full time. And while we want to Gateshead, I just wish Greg Covey, they looked really bad. Got a hat-trick on the first day, so obviously they'll miss his goals and that. But as a player, I hope he comes back fully fit, you know, and continues where he's left off, really.
Yeah, like I said, the tackle itself, I mean, I've watched it a few times, and there's just no need for it. I know even Greg's came out and said it happens, it's football, but for me personally, it didn't need it. Like you say, you'll have one bad injury, possibly a tibia, but I think it's tibia, fibia. Literally everything's just totally snapped, and they've even said he's not going to play again this season. But I think that, and obviously the mix of last season, the playoff heartache, them little things pushed them, and obviously they came out and won that game 2-0. It's just little things for Gateshead that pushing it. This could be something that could help them get in the playoffs even closer to possibly going to buy the title, couldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'll put them up there as one of the favourites. I would love to see them go up to make amends for last season. So just see what happens. They've got a new striker in, ex-Darlow lad in, Beck. I'm not sure what he's like. And they've got a lad in from Derby, so hopefully like I say, like everybody else, they gel quickly and they're doing well.
Yeah, and a couple of big test clubs, like you say, Yeovil and Oldham, two sides that's played well, high football pyramid. I think if they kind of get past them 2 games unbeaten, their confidence is going to be flowing, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Yeovil's 1-2, and I think Oldham's 1-1 and drew 1, I think, but both big. I mean, they're all going to be big tests in that league, aren't they?
Yeah.
Just see what happens after the weekend.
Definitely.
The next team, if picking 4 points up, I suppose, would be a good weekend.
No, it'd be great to see. It really would. Like I say, I know they might not be picking up certain points inside, but just playing against them teams with them names, it's unbelievable seeing how much the football's changed, hasn't it? It's crazy seeing the names down there.
Aye, there's a lot of ex-teams down there. Some just make the job a bit harder.
And the other team in that league, Peter, is the Hartlepool, of course, in the game. 1-0 win against Yeovil, 0-0 against Southend, and 1-0 against Tamworth for a good start. And a lot of fans have been really positive to say, and actually come out and said already we're going to have a great season. Obviously, the new manager comes in, and even Gary Medine, I know he's been missing out of football for a little short period, but he's back in there at Hartlepool. And he's even just said in his interview during the week, he came in just literally to train to get fit again, and he just said the gaffer, he's absolutely crazy, he's mad, there's just a buzz around the place, and he just wanted him from day one. And I think to have that atmosphere around the club, Hartlepool are just going in the right direction, aren't
they? Definitely. To play the first 3 games, which Yeovil away, I was up for your first game, like Hamilton away midweek. They've been riding on a crest of the wave in league below, and then a draw at home to Southend. And at that level, not to concede a goal is obviously he's obviously building for back. Obviously, they're not scoring many, but they've got 7 points. They've got 7 points so far out of 9. And the same guy, I've heard his interviews, and you can tell the way he talks. And I like watching the reaction from the Hartlepool fans. They always have plenty of cameras among them, and they're encouraging us to come over. And he's there saying, "Get your ass back over there, spend time with them fans," And you feel that he's so full of passion. He wants to do well for the club and for the supporters. Whereas sometimes they're just a little bit standoffish, and they'll do it as a gesture. But you can sometimes tell it's just an act. But with him, it's definitely not an act. He's so passionate, isn't he? And you stole me thunder because obviously you'd seen that interview. But that guy who's come in, if he hasn't played much, he'll still be wanting to get fit to play, won't he? And have a bit more like, won't he? There's another team who we consider in that league. You're maybe a bit too far north for them, but when you look at them, the 3 teams are in 2nd, 5th, and 6th. The other teams, York City, they're good friends of ours. They always come and give us a pre-season, bring plenty over. Potentially a football league team. I think one at first game at season, they were down at Southend, and they had about 600 there, which is fantastic support there, isn't it? And again, they've got 7 points. So them 3 teams to be where they are is somewhat different, isn't it? You normally it's normally your Southerners who are leading the way, isn't it? And one northern team trying to catch, or one northeast team somewhere in the mix trying to catch them up, but it's a really, really good start for all 3 teams, I would say. Obviously, Hartlepool are classed as 6th, but it's only based on goal difference. It's the same points as Gateshead, really. That 5-1 victory is obviously giving them the advantage, hasn't it? But all credit to Gateshead. I was looking at some of their results in pre-season, and bloody hell, they were sort of 7-0 up and bringing juniors on for the last 20 years. Every team they played, it was absolutely. It was bloody punishment, weren't it? They were ruthless in every single game they played, and I hope they do well because I was gutted for them last year, but I was so pleased when they won FA Trophy. I said once before, didn't I? Nothing's a problem they have that many downfalls, that many problems at Gateshead. They all seem to bounce back, and this is another example of them bouncing back again. And above the odds, as you've already said, there's a lot of really big teams in there. Gateshead by no means are a big team. I know their support's increased a lot over the last year or two, but it's small compared to some of them teams that are playing in that league. Like last year, Chesterfield with bloody full houses every week. All them sort of teams, But the summit teams, your South Ends and what have you, they were never any good when they're in Football League. But all of a sudden, they're well supported, aren't they? It's amazing how loyal, how people sort of suddenly start coming when it becomes non-league for some reason. Oldham Athletic, I think they're better supported now than what they ever were in. Even when they were a good team, they never used to get massive crowds. When they were up the leagues, but they get good crowds now, don't they?
Yeah, it's special, isn't it? Excellent. But yeah, getting on to the north side of things as well, and I would like to say very positive in that league and quite positive in the north as well. And starting with yourself, Jason, and Spennymoor, which we're going to start with, and the 3-0 win against Chester. I think they were quite shocked with the 3-1 against Leamington, the loss there before the 2-0 win against Southport. But like I say, Lee built a great squad over the summer. Lots of changes. Taylor back fit now, which was a huge miss last season. Got experience in there, but got some good young players as well. What's your thoughts on Spenny so far?
Like you said, Graham Lee come in last year, did a fantastic job. Like everywhere else, new faces coming in, but they seem to have worked together. 2 home wins. I'm going down there on Monday to watch them against Brackley, so we'll see what they're like. Again, they've just missed out on the playoffs in the last couple of years, and I can see them being up there or thereabouts. Hopefully they'll get in them this year. I think they missed out last year with South Shields by a point, which was unfortunate. But they're doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, like you say, the last couple of seasons, it's literally been, even on the last day of the season, not last year, but the year before, they were pretty much in the playoffs for the full 90 minutes until about the last 10 minutes, of scores elsewhere. It's little things like that. But again, like Kate said, we've just been chatting there, it pushes it, doesn't it?
I was down that game and I was watching the live league when they were in, they were out, they were in, they were out. But he's got, this is his full season now. He obviously come in part the way through last season, but he's done wonders on the pitch again. So I don't see why they cannot be pushing into the playoffs.
Oh, it'd be great there. It'd be great to see it there. And Peter as well, Darlow. And I think it's normal. I think a lot of fans would be quite disappointed. I know the 2-1 loss against Kidderminster. And obviously things getting a little bit better with the 2-2 against Oxford, then a 2-0 loss against Buxton. And I think a lot of Darlow fans obviously staying up last season, and the way that they did stay up and Steve Watson being there pushing on, was expecting a little bit better start of the season, but it just hasn't ticked, has it?
No, you're right. They're in 20th place at the moment, played 3 and 1 point. And, there's not many clubs where, fans rally around every year and put money in. I think it was nearer 200,000 than anything, weren't it, what they chipped in, or certainly 190,000. So I know they bought the guy from Dunstan, Jack Maskell, and I see he's playing every game, but, he's only a young kid, and it's a big step up in it. So what you can do 2 leagues below isn't necessarily what you can do 2 leagues above. So they're going to have to be patient with him. They're going to have to protect him. They don't want to be destroying his confidence by continually playing him and him not scoring. And I looked at who Steve Watson's been signing, and it's amazing how many players he keeps bringing back. Lads who have played at Gateshead. A lot of them ex-York. When he was at York, they've gone off elsewhere, then they've come back again. A lot of managers, some managers are like that, though, aren't they? They have their own players, and even Cloughy used to take same players everywhere. So if he can do it, anybody can do it. But it's disappointing. As a supporter, tipping money in. You tip it. It's like I said about FA Cup. You've got a budget to work to, and that 200,000 or 190,000 is the bonus to make it better. It's not to fill a hole, is it? It's what's supposed to help you get moving. But there's no traction at all. Similar thing in this league. You don't mention them, but they're our next door neighbours. Scarborough, they're laying in 5th. Similar record to them 3 teams above. Played 7 points. Come back really well in midweek at Chorley, getting beat 1-0 and ended up winning with a last-minute goal. So that manager's certainly come an awful long way since that night when we beat them 3-0. Then they went on a run, got promoted, and now they're an established National League North team, aren't they? He's really, really well as John O'Green in league.
Definitely, and I think with Darlington, I know we're going to keep a close eye on things, and it's been quite hard, I think, for Watson because he's actually coaching and helping out with Newcastle Academy or the under-19s or something like that, and mixing that with obviously his Darlow job as well. It's going to be hard for coaches, like you say, you have that one job, it's easy, but if you're mixing your work up, you work with different players, different formations, different systems for 2 sides, it gets a bit confusing at times. So it'll be interesting to see how they get on as well. But the final team in that league, South Shields, and a question for both of you on this one, which has been 3 teams now. Obviously, the 3-0 loss against Hereford, the 2-1 loss against Curzon, but the 2-1 win against Warren. I know I was speaking to a friend during the week who's been, I think, all the games this season. He said it's just not quite how it was in the past. Jason, we look at it as well, and the crowds are down as well. Obviously, Dickman did get kept on at the end of last season, possibly because the club's up for sale, might want to bring a different manager in to pay him off if the chairman comes and doesn't fancy him. Do you think things are not right there at the moment?
There's all the uncertainty, isn't it? Like you say, the place is up for sale. Is the investment going in? Better players, even lesser players coming in. That plays a big factor in things. I don't know if they've had any interested parties. They seem to be up for sale for quite a while. And I think the sooner that's sorted, the better, really. I'm not sure who they play on Saturday. I think they've got Scunthorpe. Is it Saturday or Monday? They've got Scunthorpe. So that's a big game for them.
Mm-hmm. Huge game.
I saw Scunthorpe down at Spennymoor last year, and they were a good footballing team. Spennymoor beat them 1-0, but I've never seen a team in non-league pass like they do. So that'll be a big test. But I think they need stuff sorting out off the pitch to get things right on the pitch as well.
Yeah, do you agree with that one, Pete? Like you say, just things just not going right at the minute for South Shields.
Yeah, waiting for him. I don't think Paul Blackett scored yet, but he was top scorer last year, wasn't he? He's been playing every game. He's injured or out. I'm looked at South Shields very closely. But just some things just not going right. I've been looking to see if Kobe Shepherd's playing, and he seems to play every match. Like he was with us last year, and he deservedly got a contract with them. And I've been watching for him and keeping an eye on results, but not a lot more interesting rest of players. But I keep an eye on Blackett, and like I said, there's the other guy Bramwell, then Heaney. So there's like 4 players who's actually played for Whitby Town previously.
Yeah, really nice to see what happens over the next few weeks with them.
If it's going to be bought, it needs to be bought sooner rather than later, as you say. It creates uncertainty, doesn't it? That
definitely. So next on to the Northern Premier as well, another massive division this season. I just want to say about 10 minutes left on the show. Massive thank you again to everyone that's been tuning in. Keep getting your comments in, like I say, put your teams on who you support. I love having to read through the comments. Next on the Northern Premier, just going to go through the sides. Obviously, first in the league, Blythe played 4, not won a game yet, drawn 3, lost 1, sitting at 18th at the moment. Heaven played 4, won 4, sitting top of the league. Mortimer played 4, won 1, lost 3, sitting 19th. Stockton played 4, won 3, lost 1, sitting 4th. And Whitby played 4, won 2, drawn 1, lost 1, sitting in 7th. And what we're going to start doing on the shows going forward is kind of have a bit of an open kind of show, kind of not kind of going through team by team, just kind of going into what each in different leagues and just kind of going through it. But I think the big one that we've got to start with, lads, on this one is obviously Blythe Spartans over the summer. New chairman comes in, and I think alarm bells rang from day 1 or 2. People doing searches on the chairman, where's he came from. And I think a lot of Blythe fans, them last 2 weeks before this first game was kicking off, didn't even have a squad, didn't even have a bench. It's quite worrying for Blythe, isn't
it? We beat them 2-0, second off last game of the pre-season, and to be honest, the worst team I've seen.
Right.
And I mean, I've seen some weird side, you know what I mean? they just, and they've got Ben Milburn from us. I was talking to Ben last night down at Dunstan. They've got 4 or 5 lads in now, which 3 draws out of the 4 games. So that friendly against us just did not have a clue. And I just thought another relegation, you know. But like I said, these 4 or 5 lads will come in and see what happens. I think they'll still be struggling, but we'll see.
Yeah, but I mean, one team not struggling. Got to mention obviously Hebben Town, isn't it?
I watched that video of Dan Bell when Gates had beaten, well, they won his 7-0 with about 20 minutes to go, and they were basically just walking past them to score. And then I think, well, it was Dan who said it. I didn't spot it, but apparently that's when they started putting a flood of youth team players on just to give them a run out when it was sort of 7-0, you know, total embarrassment. Like, I noticed when first crowd, they classed it as a low crowd. It was about 800 and something, but it soon dropped to 500 and something following games. So you know that needs bloody halting, doesn't it? Else they're going to have a major problem. Like,
yeah, it does.
And as I say at Whitby Town, you know, 31st of August, FA Cup. You know, if you go out of there, you get a few quid for going out. You need to be sort of pushing on. I don't know if they've got in FA Cup, but you know they're not doing very well in the league. They want to be. They want something to play for. They don't want to be out of there at end of August, do they?
That's it, like you say. And I think just above Blythe as well. I mean, you look at Morpeth as well. And I personally, when I've seen some of the signs that came on over the summer at Morpeth, I think thought things. Yeah, we're getting some players that's been there 3 or 4 years out. Some new face, and I expect a lot of change on the pitch. And sitting 19th at the moment, just the 1 win. I'm quite surprised at their start.
Yeah, there was that. What centre forward Hodgson who was at South Shields. South Shields took him back, and then all of a sudden he's back at Morpeth again now, isn't he?
Yes, Shields fans are quite shocked that. I know my friend was.
Makes you wonder why, if South Shields are struggling, why haven't they kept him? You know, they obviously don't think he's up to their level, like, you know.
Yeah, the great that one, Jason. I'd say some big signs came in, didn't they? I think with obviously Luke James, Dan Buddle, at the back, some great players, but just haven't clicked yet, have they?
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't I mean, a good 2-1 win at Stockton, and it'll be a big game on Monday at Blythe and Morpeth. I think they'll both be struggling down the bottom of the table. See what happens from there.
Yeah, but like you say, a few sides that we touched on the league that's not struggling, the likes of Hebben, Stockton would be up there, and Hebben, I think we've got to start with Hebben. Obviously, played 4-1-4, and it's just gone from that spell at the end of last season to take over Stockton to win the league. The Bobby Moore, that job he's done. I know he's getting the England veteran job, which is fantastic to see as well. Which is really well with that, but it's just going from strength to strength with Hebben, isn't it?
It's like we were saying before about Constant with having a mentality. I mean, Heaven's got that winning mentality, you know, and you've still got the 2 lads up front scoring goals for fun. You know, they proved this season they can still bang them in. So I think again, Hebben and Stockton will be up there. Nice to see Sweetie getting a few goals for Stockton, ex-Concert lad. But Heaven's absolutely flying. And the thing is, off the pitch as well, just every time you go up there and there's a new stand built or a toilet block or a new cafe, it's moving on and off the pitch, which is great to see.
No, it is really fantastic. Like I say, a lot of teams progressing now, which is always nice to see. I know we've got about 5 minutes left, so we're going to crack on with Division 1 East as well. And again, just quickly going through, obviously the sides in there. You've got the likes of Ashington, Bishop, Consett, Dunstan, Heaton, Newton, Aycliffe, and I've got to ask yourself, Peter, first, Jason, sorry. I mean, last season we talked about kind of the North East making up that top half, the top 5, the top 2, sorry, the playoffs, where this season you're kind of looking at the bottom half, isn't it?
Yeah, wait, it is at the minute. Thanks for putting that in.
Not good reading.
I think that's Newton Aycliffe did better than they even thought they would do. I mean, I thought we would be mid-table, so I'm not disappointed with that. I think Dunstan will push on this year. I mean, I've seen the 2 FA Cup games against Wickham. I was there last night, and they did really well. Ashington, I've been to Ashington, the 2 FA Cup games. I was really impressed with them down at Bishop Auckland. I thought Bishop might have nicked it, but Ashton's got a good half concert lads up there and the management team as well. But they seem to have a good setup there. So I think Ashton and Dunstan will be up there this year. I'm not sure about the others, but we'll wait and see.
Yeah, it's nice though, isn't it, to see you, Peter, in that league? I mean, you've got 6 teams there. There's some big games, isn't there, now?
Yeah, league positions are a bit deceiving when they've only played 2 games. In the, I put 6 crosses against them for the FA Cup. Unfortunately, 3 have gone out, including your team, Jason. Bishops did the other night, and Eton Stannington, no points and out at FA Cup. So of that league, there's still Ashington, Dunstan, and Newton Aycliffe representing North East out of the 6. So they've got a chance of progressing a little bit further, haven't they?
Yeah,
it'll be a tough game for Ash and the Crook.
Do you think any of them teams have suffered by the teams in the league above being stronger? Yeah, have they taken any players off them, or is Northern League taking them from other side? How's it? I would think there'd be an element of that, won't it? Because as I said earlier, they don't want to be travelling all over the country when they can get just as much.
That's the main thing, isn't it? I think you'll agree with that one, Jason. Like you say, when you call that Northern League, a lot of players don't follow you up to that next level. They want to stay in the Northern League for work. Because to be honest, like you say, some players will actually get paid more for the jobs that they do rather than paying the part-time football. And you can't work and travel so far across the country, can you?
I was surprised how many players.
I know, lads. But that happens. I mean, the players kind of commit. I mean, as a fan, I know what it's like as a fan trying to get home and away all the time. It's a full day now. You get on the bus at 9:30. You're back at 11 o'clock at night. And then, like you were saying before, Peter, sometimes the Saturday games turn into Tuesday games. And you kind of get the players and the fans kind of get time off. And it's quite difficult.
Our first away game was down at Matlock. 3 hours each way for us. But like I said, the teams complain when they come to us once a year. But traffic jams in summer and all this, that, and other. But you try going across them 62 any time at year. However much time you sort of allow for getting stuck in traffic, you're always wrong. You never odd time you'll go through and get there dead early, but most of the time there's some sort of hold up for some reason, isn't there? I think you're better off going down M1 than going across
coming back on the A1 and the A19 on the night time. There's always roadworks, so the driver's switching from one to the other.
It's even worse, isn't it? The work through at night, so you're all about buddy on detours, aren't you?
Oh, it's an absolute nightmare, isn't it? But I think we've, like you say, only played 2 games in the league, and I think by the time we do our next show, a lot more games played and hopefully more points on board for all the sides. Fingers crossed in that league as well. But Jason, Peter, thank you very much for coming on the show. Like you say, our first one of the season, and hopefully when you come back on as well, Jason, a few more wins on the board as well, and Peter hopefully still up there in that playoff positions as well. But no, best of luck for the season, and hopefully see you in a couple more shows throughout the year as well.
All the best for the season, Jason. It's going to happen on Saturday, I promise you. You're going to win. Who are you playing? Who are you playing?
Emily, another promoted team.
3 points.
Hope so, mate. All the best to you.
Yeah, thanks for your time, lads.
Excellent. Well, again, thank you everyone for watching. Lots of looking back shows coming up, lots of guests coming on. We're looking forward to going back over a few players' careers, so keep an eye out because there's a few more to be announced over the next few days as well. But again, thank you so much for your support. I hope you enjoy the rest of your night as well.
Thank you.